Welcome to another episode of the Forgotten Athlete Podcast with your host Joseph. Please subscribe, like, do whatever you got to do to make my podcast blow up. What's up going on, everybody? What's going on? Hopefully, everybody's having a great week. Happy Hump Day. It's Wednesday. Another weekly podcast with your host, like I said, Joseph. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Spitter. Same tag, Joe Spitter. A couple things I want to talk about today. Break down that NFL slate. Talk about those Monday Night Football games. Obviously, I went 1-1. Unfortunately, you can't win them all. And then talk about some Jimmy G storylines coming out of the Niners situation over this weekend with Trey Lance going down. Talking about, I don't know why I'm huffing and puffing right now. Whew. Yeah, we got, and then also the NBA. We got some NBA talk about Robert Sarver selling the Suns. He got forces of the Suns. My opinion on that. It's gonna be different. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be my best take, I think. And I'll post it on all my sites that I have. That way, people can understand that there's different opinions that people have. And even though I'm black, I have a different opinion. Even though I'm a man, I have a different opinion with the situation. But before I get started there, let's go start with the NBA. I'm sorry, NFL. This past weekend, we went 3-0 again. As I said on my Instagram post, Buccaneers covered, Niners covered, and the Washington and Lions game went over 48.5. Thank you so much for keep on following those locks. Those locks of the weeks are going to get us paid, going to get us built up with that that bankroll, right? Hey, I'm just saying, put $50 down. If you would put $50 down on each bet right now, that's 50 times 6. That's $300 you make right in 2 weeks. So just keep on putting those books down. Obviously, this is I'm hot to start the year off for the NFL. College football, not the same story, but this is not a college football podcast, so thankfully I don't give out those picks. But with that being said, let's go ahead and let's go into our first topic of the day, which is going to be the Niners and Jimmy G. Are the Niners better without Jimmy G? Are they better with Jimmy G? Are they better starting him? Are they better having him as a backup? Well, now they have no choice. Before I told you guys that this might be an issue if they start losing. Lost the first game, fans went crazy. Obviously, Trey Lance is not ready yet. And there's a podcast, like I say, I always mention him just because I like to listen to his podcast, Three and Out, on the volumes. It's on the volume with Colin Cowherd, but his name is John Middlecoff. He said this is what I was going to say on my podcast, so I'm just saying it just because I heard it from him, and I was going to say that same thing in my podcast, but it came out on Wednesday. But I watched Jalen Hurts last year. I watched him this year, and he's a completely different player. And when I look at Trey Lance and when I look at Jalen Hurts, I see two similar players. Obviously different styles of play, but I see the similar player when it comes to being ready to be an NFL quarterback, opposed to just being a great talent, right? Last year we saw Jalen Hurts, great talent, but he wasn't NFL quarterback ready. This year he took a big leap, and he over this past 2 games he looks like an NFL quarterback. I told you guys last month or the month before, like in July, to get him at MVP odds when it was around 4,000. The current MVP odds are plus 1,000 right now. I've seen as high as like plus 1,400, but most sites I'm seeing is plus 1,000. I got him at plus 2,800. I want to say around that range, something like that. But he's the third highest odds to win MVP right now. But back to Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is a great quarterback. I just don't think he's ready. I've been saying this whole time. He's just not ready. He's going to have a great future, a great NFL career. He's just not ready. And with the Niners getting Jimmy G right now, they are a Super Bowl contending team. They are a team that can be in the NFL championship this year, the Super Bowl. I don't know what I'm saying, the championship for. But they're the team that can be in the Super Bowl this year. They just are. Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan, the run game doesn't matter who's back there. They're able to run the ball. Debo, obviously. George Kittle, when he comes back healthy, he's going to be able to catch the ball, unlike these other tight ends who can't catch the ball. Defense is looking solid, although they gave up, a couple yardage, a couple bad plays to the Seattle Seahawks this past weekend. But overall, their defense looks good. Greenlaw just got paid, so he's going to ball out this next weekend. And they are, well, I'm not saying it, but they're a team that I like this weekend. Tune into my podcast on Sunday to find out my locks of the weeks. But they're a team that I like this weekend. Just give me that hand. Wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, back to the topic. All right. Niners are a great team. They're a great coaching. They have a great culture. And the team just looks completely different now that Jimmy G is the quarterback. compared to when Trey Lance was the quarterback. Teams are a lot more confident. The players are jumping up and down. The players are celebrating after big plays. Players are, helping Jimmy G up. We didn't see that from Trey Lance. And I think the players were like, hey, man, this guy's not ready. And we got a guy in the backfield who, our guy in the backup room who has taken us to the NFC Championship multiple times, who has taken us to Super Bowl before. Why is he not playing, right? And that's what you're seeing as a veteran player. So now that Jimmy G is the starting quarterback, the Niners have no excuse but to make the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. I mean, obviously there's hurdles, there's injuries that could happen, but at this state of place where we're at right now, the Niners they should be a favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. They should be. I'm taking my hat off real quick just because now you guys can see my hat a little bit, my hair. Why I wear the hat all the time? Just because I'm in Georgia. These barber shops, not a friendly place. But back to the topic of discussion. Let's go ahead and switch topics. We got the Vikings and the Eagles. I went against the Vikings. I went against my MVP because I picked the Vikings to win the Super Bowl this year. So I was like, you know what? I got to be confident. I got to ring that bell. Vikings got to cover. They're gonna win. Forget Kirk Cousins and his Monday night games, primetime games, whatever the case may be. He just sucks. Kirk Cousins, man, you got to step it up, dude. Like, you have a great roster behind you. You have one of the greatest receivers that this league has ever laid their eyes on. He's so young. He's so fast. He makes mistakes, but who cares? This guy's good. Just give him the ball. Throw him the ball. Deep coverage. It doesn't matter, right? And the O line just he can't get out of a bad bat. If the O line's not blocking perfectly for him, he's just not going to be able to throw the ball. And that's the thing that irritates me the most. Like, dude, move around the pocket, scramble, roll out, do something, man. Like work on it. Like, you don't have to be fast to roll out of the pocket. It's like Tom Brady. Dude's 45 years old. I saw him on Sunday. Sunday against the Saints, rolling out of the pocket. When leaving press, leaving pockets that were not good anymore to get the ball through him. Just work on that, man. And with that being said, I don't want to talk about the Vikings too much just because I picked them to make the Super Bowl, and they were just horrible the other night. They were just horrible to watch. Bad play all around. They were just not consistent at all in any effort, and it was just frustrating to watch. It was just very frustrating to watch. And hopefully they play better this weekend against the Lions, but they are not my lock of the week this week. I'll let you know that right now. They are not going to be my lock of the week. With that being said, let's move on to the next topic, which is who's the favorite to win the NFL right now? Who's the best team right now in the NFL? And that's the Bills. I told you guys the other night, Bills are going to dominate the Titans right now. Right now, my two favorite teams right now in the NFL are the Browns. Are the Bills and the Eagles. And those two teams are fun to watch. Those teams have explosive offense. They have great defense. They have a great defensive line. They have a great secondary between the two of them. Mixing the two of them. And they just have great talent all around. They have a great, fun quarterback to watch. Hurts, Allen, two of the greatest quarterbacks to watch right now at the moment. And then just moving forward, we have a lot of we just have a lot of good matches with them. Eagles having the easiest schedule on record. Bills having a challenging task coming up against the Dolphins. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Another fun weekend that we have to look at. But NFL is done for the day. If you NFL only news, if you want to only watch the NFL, I'm gonna be talking about the NBA for the most part for the next couple minutes, and I may talk about the NFL after this, but we gotta talk about the NBA and Kyrie Irving. He's being a philanthropist for the unvaccinated people. We have Robert Sarver selling his team because players and fans want him to sell it. Adam Silver, looking stupid during an interview. Like, the NBA is a soap opera, and I keep on saying this and I keep on harping this. People are not gonna watch soap operas when it's basketball. Like, this is not SmackDown. This is not WWE. Like, people are not gonna continue to tune into this at the rate that they usually are. And that's why you have seen ratings go down year after year after year. And that's why the gambling community, there's a lot of people in the gambling community who don't even bet on the NBA because they realize how bad of a product it is. So when you look at all this, the NBA is just, it's comical. Players are getting paid to to just sit down and chill. Teams are allowing them to do whatever they want in the workplace. And then when when the NFL or something, the NBA makes a ruling on it, the players don't agree with it. They force the guy to sell the team. Like this is a players driven league. And listen, I have seen same situation in the NFL, and the NFL is not forcing the Redskins at the time, and now the Washington Commanders, to sell their team with Dan Snyder. Similar situations where emails came out, sexual harassment claims came out, and picks were removed, fines were given, but he wasn't forced to sell his team, and players didn't come out and be like, "Oh my gosh, he needs to sell his team." The NBA is just so bad right now, and it's just so uninteresting, I guess. And this is what they have to do to keep up with the news. It's like the NFL is like Fox News, and then the NBA is like CNN. Like they just do whatever it takes to just keep up to date with the news. And then you have players like Kyrie Irving. You have players like Kyrie Irving who just come out and just say whatever they want, and they believe whatever they believe, and it's just so annoying. And I'm going to talk about the Robert Sarver situation. So, Robert Sarver, he made a lot of racist and a lot of misogynistic, a lot of sexist remarks, had a bad workplace. And so I'm not defending the guy at all. The guy's a butthole. From what I can see, he is who he is, and the reports say, and he hasn't denied any of the reports that came out, the findings. Initially he came out and he denied all the allegations. When the findings came out, when the NBA gave him his, its penalty, he didn't deny anything. So when you look at it from that perspective, and when you try to understand where this guy Robert Sarver is coming from, you kind of you I don't feel it's bad for the guy. I'm not gonna say that, but I do have to say, at what point does freedom of expression in America get us, we get held accountable for something, right? For our actions, for saying something, and we get punished for it. But then the 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 people, the players, the employees of the company, they don't like the punishment, so they want him to be force himself. At what point in America do we get that way? You know, like, I mean, we can bring in the Donald Sterling situation, and into the situation as well. Like, why do people have to agree with what we agree with? Why do people have to say what we say, right? People are going to say at the end of the day, Robert Sarver is going to be a racist at the end of the day. He's going to be a misogynist at the end of the day. He's going to be a sexist at the end of the day. So why is it that we are okay, right? We're okay with supporting the NBA, right? We're okay with supporting the NBA when this investigation was going on. But when the NBA, oh, this guy got fined 10 million, he's suspended for 3 years or something, like whatever the case, suspended for a year. Oh no, he needs to be suspended. Where was the outrage when this first came out? All right, let's talk about that. Where was the outrage when this first came out? When this initially came out, where was the outrage? From Chris Paul, from Draymond Green, from LeBron James, from the NBA players that spoke out about it. Where was that at? Right? Why is it that we have to wait until the actual findings come out to say, and punishment to be come out to say, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is not the way it should have been handled. Well, okay, if you want to handle differently, then speak up sooner, right? Speak up sooner, right? But also own a team. Make a committee before owners get in the ownership, vest them, whatever the case may be, right? Do all the stuff you got to do to prevent these type of people from owning teams. But at that same token, I'm speaking trying to proactively prevent this, right? At the same token, though, when these things occur, right, why is it that you remove the team from the individual? Why are we forcing this guy to sell his team when the NBA already gave out their punishment? Does that make sense to you guys? And maybe it does. I mean, because it doesn't make sense to me. If my job, right, if I said something, or if my boss says something that was the owner of the company that I work for, right? If he said something that was, that was explicit, that was harmful, that was hurtful to me, right? And the company's like, hey, we got to remove you from the board, but you're still gonna be owner of the company. You're just gonna remove from the board, or whatever the case may be, right? You're gonna be suspended for a year, right? And we'll get you back on the board next year, right? All these things occur, right? If all these things happen, but people are still shopping at the company that I work for, what's really changing? Nothing. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I guess where I'm coming from is Robert Sarver. I'm not defending the guy at all. I'm not defending him at all. But his employer, sorry, not his employer, his partner, the NBA, because they're her partner at the end of the day. That's not his employer. They're partners. His partner, the NBA, gave him a fine, and that was in their bylaws. There's nothing in the bylaws that says that the NBA can remove that. I'm sorry, not the NBA, but the Adam Silver can remove the NBA team from Robert Sarver's hands. There's nothing that says that. Now, there's bylaws that state that they can, there are bylaws that say that they can, like talk to them, and there's certain penalties that kind of fit the criteria that to reach that point where it comes to a team removal. But this was at that point. He never got to that point. Adam Silver, he said, hey, it never got to that point where we wanted to remove him from the team. We thought that this was the punishment that it deserved, $10 million fine plus a 1-year suspension. He left it at that. And then the NBA, people start coming out, oh, well, this guy should be fired. That guy should be canceled. Cancel culture, all this stuff. Well, guess what, cancel culture? You just made the guy for what? I mean, he just okay, so he bought the team for $400 million. You just made the guy a billionaire overnight. He's literally going to get $1 billion of cash money sent to his bank account overnight. That's literally about to happen in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever the process is. There's like Jeff Bezos, I'm hearing, Bob Iger, I can't say his name. So, and then like I don't think what listen, man, I just have a different state of mind. I grew up differently, so I don't know that people think that what he says is directed towards, is bad. Like obviously what he said was inappropriate, right? But it wasn't to the point where it was a fireable offense or for offense for him to remove it. And to his point, in this generation, you're not allowed to make any mistakes. You're not. We've seen it time after time after time after time. Someone makes a mistake, they get punished for it. We don't hear back from them. They get canceled, right? That's the quote unquote cancel culture, right? And this is another example. So I mean, at the end of the day, man, I mean, you got a guy who bought a team for $400 million, and he ends up, hitting the lottery because his team just went to the NBA Finals 2 years ago. His team's probably, I haven't the valuation, but he's a for sure top 6, top 7 franchise right now in terms of worth. So his team's probably worth over $2 billion at the time. So he's for sure going to get that money, that he's selling the team. And the Mercury, I don't know about that franchise in terms of like their value, but in terms of totality with the Suns and the Mercury, he's going to be able to get it, So, excuse me. At the end of the day, man, this is just a crazy situation, man. And I feel sorry for people who believe that this was going to remove racism from the NBA or inappropriate workplace from the NBA. I just do. I just feel sorry for them. And I just wanted to read a statement from what Sarver said, and I'll go ahead and cut it off. But he says in a statement Wednesday, this is from New York Times, in a statement Wednesday, Sarver said this rank suspension would have given him to make amends and remove my personal controversy from the teams that he owns. But in our current unforgiving climate, he said it has become painfully clear that this is no longer possible, that whatever good I have done or could still do is outweighed by the things I've said in the past. And I mean, that's the thing that I don't get about this society. You say something, you come back on it, be like, hey, I'm sorry I made this mistake. And then you say, well, we don't want it back. We don't want the apology. Screw your apology. You shouldn't have said it in the first place. But he said it already. So what are we gonna do to make it so he realizes what he said was wrong? Right? Make it to where he realizes improve the workplace where he works at, improve his lifestyle, right? No, we're just gonna get him out the league. Who cares? Go screw another organization up, right? I mean, what are we teaching this, right? What are we teaching our kids? That if we do with a racist, we don't confront them, or we do with a I don't want to say racist because I don't think what he said was racist. But when we do a controversy, we just forget about it. We don't direct it. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right? I mean, we have to do better job at this. Like, we can't just force people to sell our team out because they make us feel bad or they hurt our feelings. We just can't. And I mean, that's just where I'm at right now. I mean, that's my opinion, right? Forgotten that the podcast opinion. If you disagree with it, go ahead and disagree with it. But that's just how I feel, and I don't think that this should have been a point where he should have been removed from the team, or he should have been forced to sell his team, because you're giving him the easy way out. You're literally giving this guy the easy way out, and that's all I gotta say. I'm out. Podcast on Sunday, locks of the weeks on Sunday. Feel free to tune in. I'll have it on my Instagram too. All right, so if you don't want to check my podcast, I'll have it on my Instagram post as well.